I haven't been in the plant hobby as long as you have, but over time, I've discovered a few plants that I now call my forever plants. These are the plants I will always have in my collection no matter what. In a hobby where tastes change and trends seem to come and go, these are the plants that have stood the test of time for me already. These 5 will always have a spot on my shelves, and maybe I'll inspire you to find your own forever plants. So the first plant is the prayer plant. Now, these two I love, and I will always have these in my collection. These 2 plants actually died back from a spider mite attack, and I saved this cutting from that giant plant I had. If I had lost this plant, I would have replaced it that week with a new one. But since we're able to keep a cutting, I'm going to see if I can get this to grow. If not, I'll probably buy me a bigger one this year. This one I did save from spider mites, and I saved lots and lots of cuttings. I am planning to pot this up probably into 2 planters because there's just so much. These plants are so beautiful and known for their stunning foliage. I love the veining on this plant. You can feel the veining on each leaf. It's just so cool. I love it. They have the most unique leaf movement throughout the day, and especially at night. At night, they fold up in a praying hands position. That is one of the things that attracted me most to these plants in the beginning of my plant hobby. I've given this plant gifts to other people who are not plant people. It's made them love plants as well. It is a bit difficult to take care of if you don't have the time to take care of it, but it is very rewarding and beautiful if you can dedicate the time to it. This plant will always, always, always have a place on my shelf. I am so serious. If any of these plants die back, I'm going to go out and buy more. Just like that. It's like pretend that I never lost it in the first place. If you don't have a prayer plant or refuse to try again with your prayer plant, I will encourage you to try again. This is the first one, and this is the best one because it's one of my favorites. The next plant is a philodendron micans. I love this plant. It needs a little TLC because she's having some leaf issue at the moment. This plant, I love how green it is. I love when the younger leaves come in, it's nice and green, and as it grows up, there's a tint of bronze on it. I absolutely love that. I love this plant trailing. This plant has grown so much for me since I got it. It's been a little over 2 years, and I've propagated this plant twice already. I'm going to be sharing this plant with someone else this year, and I'm excited for that because she doesn't have one, and everybody needs a philodendron micans in their life. I love it. Love it. It does tend to be a little bit more dramatic. It wants a little bit more watering than the other philodendrons I know. So yeah, but definitely one of my forever plants that I will always have in my collection. The next plant is the Pilea peperomioides, also known as the friendship plant. I love the round coin-shaped leaves. It is a very easy care plant. It has been for me. I absolutely love this plant. I will always have this in my collection. It's quite a common plant now, and I think when I first started collecting houseplants, it was not quite common. The plant babies that grow out of this plant are known as pups, and you can share the pups with other people, and that's probably why it's called the friendship plant. But I am going to be sharing this plant with a few other people this year, and I'm very excited about that because I do love this plant. It's good to turn your non-plant friends into plant friends. Now, the other thing about this plant that I absolutely adore and why it's known as my forever plant is that in spring, it will flower. There is a explosion of the pollen later on in the flowering process that I did catch on camera a few weeks ago. Now, I love that about this plant. It's also known as the artillery plant. Yeah, I have high hopes for this plant this year. I want it to get taller and see if I can get it to grow bigger. So yeah, I will always have this plant. Now, if I lose this plant, I will be upset. But if I do, I will buy another one. For those who know me, the next plant is not a surprise at all. It is my top favorite Hoya. It's the Hoya Croniana Silver, and I love it because of how easy it is. I love it how beautiful it is, and I also love it for how much it blooms. It is a Hoya that just keeps blooming. Now, just this one just finished blooming and it's going to bloom again. I already see another set of bloom coming in right there and right there. Yeah, it's going to be blooming again. The fragrance of this plant is intoxicating. It will take over the house. Now, I really like all those small leaves Hoyas. They tend to grow really fast and bloom quicker. This one is the only one so far in my collection that I have that small leaves and a little bit more mature that has bloomed so much for me. I'm hoping that this year I can get some more of my Hoyas to bloom. This is one of my forever plants because it's been so rewarding. There's a mixtures of reason why I have these forever plants. This one just gives me everything I want in a Hoya. If anything happens to this plant, if it gets covered in mealies, I will buy another one. No question asked. So number 5 for my forever plant is the Hoya globulosa. This is a new one for me. This has just been added to my collection about 6 months ago. And since I've added it, I absolutely love this plant. Look at how stunning and green and shiny those leaves are. Oh my goodness. And the veining on the opposite side, oh, it's just so gorgeous. I absolutely love this plant. I am still learning about this plant, trying to make sure I figure it out. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm getting there. When I first got it, I did have some leaves that told me it was not happy. So I moved it out of that area and it seemed to have bounced back. This plant so far have told me every time it's been unhappy. So that's a good thing. I did take a cutting from this plant that I will be giving away this year, but this part of the plant is just growing so well. Unlike most Hoyas that I've touched, there's a fuzzy texture to these leaves. I'm currently researching on how I can get this plant to bloom, and I'm hoping to get it to bloom in the next year or so. I am excited to learn and improve my care on this plant, my forever plant. I love that I have these forever plants because it gives me some time to learn and grow with them and know that they're always going to be with me. I love that my plan for some of my forever plants, I'm sharing it. I love that about these plants. You might have noticed in these forever plants, I have not shared my begonias. That's because I do have more forever plants than just 5. I wanted to keep this video short, so I kept the list at just 5. If you want a part 2, let me know because on that list will be begonias. So do you have any plants that are forever plants for you? If they die, you would buy another one right away. Let me know in the comments. I would love to know what yours are. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.